Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to solve one more LeetCode question, that is widest vertical area between 2 points containing no points. So in this question we are given n points on a 2D plane where points I, that is an array, represents x and y coordinate of a particular point, and we have to return the widest vertical area between 2 points such that no point are inside that area. I am stressing this widest vertical area term again and again because there is a difference between vertical area and widest vertical area, which is given in this line. That is, the vertical area is an area of fixed width extending infinitely along y-axis. But when we are talking about widest vertical area, it is the one with the maximum width. So we only have to concentrate on maximum width part, not the one which includes this infinitely long y-axis area, right? And there is a note which says that points on the edge of a vertical area are not considered included in that area. So this means that in this diagram you can see these points which are coming on these edges are not considered inside the area, so they are not a restriction. So what we have to do is we have to check and we have to calculate the maximum width or widest vertical area. So how we can do that? So first thing is very clear to us that so we don't have to focus on the vertical area which has been located along the y-axis, but we have to focus on the widest vertical area which focuses on the maximum width. And if we are talking about 2D graphs or 2D planes, then what is the width part? Width is something that we calculate from x-axis, right? So the one hint that we are getting from the question statement itself is that we have to focus on the x-axis, not on the y-axis, right? Because if we were told to about calculate the vertical area, then we were considering the whole x-axis and y-axis, and then we were also considering the height. But in this question we don't have to focus on the height part or the vertical area. We have to focus on the widest vertical area, which is talking about the maximum width or the width part which comes from x-axis. So this is something we are very clear from the statement itself. So now let's try to understand even better this question so that we can come up with an optimized solution. So here is the example. So let's try to understand this thing even better with the diagram. So suppose this is a graph and we are saying there are these points, right? Just assume that these are the points which are given in this array, random points, and these are representing y and x coordinates, right? In this way. So if we are asked to return the maximum width, right? I'm using this term only because I think still the widest vertical area is a bit tricky term to understand this thing. But if we are going to just use maximum width term, then it is very clear to us that what we have to focus on, right? So let's try to understand if we have to calculate maximum width with this graph, then what I will be focusing on is the x-axis points. So if I'm saying I need to calculate the maximum width between 2 points, then I can say this is the width, and if I'm going to draw it down, then this will be another width. And what I'm saying, suppose this is of difference 1 and this is of difference 2, then I know that this is greater than 1. So in this scenario, this will be the value that I will be returning, right? This is something I'm randomly drawing this diagram. I will be drawing it again for the given data, but this one is quite random. So if I have to understand from this diagram, I know that I have to focus on x-axis and the points which are present on this axis, and I simply have to check the difference. But what I can't do is, in this scenario, that I can't take this whole as one distance or one width. Why? Because this width is consisting of this point, which is coming in between. It is not coming on edge. So I can't consider this whole width as one. I have to break it down, and I only have to take the width from one point to another, and I have to consider that width as valid only if there is no point in between, or if there is a point, then it is present on an edge. But if the point is not present on an edge and it is present in between, then I can't consider this whole area as vertical area or the widest area. Okay, so these are few things that we need to keep in mind. So now two things are clear to us, that what we can consider as a width and what we can't consider as a width, right? So now let's plot these points which are in this example, and then we will see with which approach we can solve this question. So if I am saying this is my graph and I am going to plot this whole point array on this graph, then before plotting this array on this graph, one thing that I can quickly figure out from the previous discussion is that if I have to calculate a difference, and if I am considering that I don't want to include any in between points, then in that scenario, what will be the best approach to proceed with this, to process this whole array? The best approach will be firstly sorting this whole array and then working with it. Then only we'll be able to get the adequate results easily, right? That will be the optimal approach. Because if we are going to randomly work with this whole array, then it would be difficult for us to figure out the difference and then checking, is there any point in between these two plotted points? Then again, after checking that, we will check that the difference is the maximum difference or not. Then it's a lot of work. To cut off this work, what we can do is we can simply sort this whole array, and after that we can plot this and we can work with the x-axis points. Like plotting is something is for understanding. We are not going to do it in the programming part, obviously. But the first step, that is sorting, which is important not only to understand the question, but also we'll be doing in the programming part. So let me just sort this whole array. So just to save our time, I have sorted this array as well as I have plotted this array on this graph. So now we can see that after sorting, this array will look something like this, and the graph of this whole array will be like this. So we can see that these are the values on x-axis that we have to focus on: 7, 8 and 9. So if I'm checking the difference between 7 and 8, these are the 2 points, right? 7 is 1 point and second point is 8. So the difference is 8 minus 7 will be 1. So this is one of the resultant. For now, I can consider that this is the resultant value. Now what I will be doing, I will be checking the next difference, that is 8 to 9. So 9 minus 8 will be also equivalent to 1. So which value is greater? Is this value is greater or this one? Both are same, right? So what I will be returning? I will be returning 1 as an answer. So if there will be some other difference like 9 and 7 or 9 or 6, in that case I know that this value will be greater than this value, previous value. So it would be somewhat like 3 or 4 or 2, whatever. So I will be returning the maximum of it. So for this example, we know that the answer is going to be 1. So this is how we are going to solve this question. Firstly, we will be sorting this whole array, and after that we will be working with only the x-axis data, because we don't have to worry about y-axis or vertical area. We have to work on widest vertical area, which is talking about the maximum width. And when it's about width, we know that it's about x-axis. So we only have to focus on this part. Now, what will be the time complexity of this whole approach? So time complexity is going to be n log n for sorting, and then again big O of n for traversing this whole array and working with x-axis data in order to calculate the maximum width. So what will be the overall time complexity? It will be big O of n log n, right? And then what will be the space complexity? Space complexity will be log n or n. Why I'm saying log n or n? Because in Java and C++, the inbuilt sort function is of log n space complexity in its worst case scenario, and in Python it is about big O of n in worst case scenario. So if we are considering that, then for if you are solving this question in Java and C++, in that case it will be log n for worst case scenario, and if you are working with Python, then it will be around big O of n space complexity in worst case scenario, because Python uses dim sort for the inbuilt sorting function. So this was the space and time complexity of this approach. And now let's jump to the coding part, and we will again be coding this solution in two languages, that is Python and Ruby. So let's quickly code this whole solution. So firstly, let's solve this array. After this, define our result variable, and then what I'm saying for I in range 1 to length of points. Inside this, what I'm saying, just update our result with max of result and points I 0, because we are working with only x-axis data, and this is not comma, this is minus points I minus 1 0, because we started from 1, right? So we have to do I minus 1 to access the previous value, and then after stepping out this loop I will be returning the result. And if I hadn't made any typo, then we can run and check. Okay, let's submit it. So this is accepted, if you can see it on the left side. So now let's quickly code the Ruby solution as well, which is going to be similar to this one. So in Ruby as well, we will firstly do sorting part, that is Python points dot sort. After this we will again define the variable, and after this we will be running a loop in which what we are saying from 1 to points dot length. The syntax is slightly different. Dot each, we are saying do I, and this is how we are going to access the values. Now inside this, what we were doing is we are saying result will be result. So result comma, what we were taking points I 0 minus points I minus 1 0, and what we have to do, we have to take the max of it, right? And after stepping out of this loop, I'm saying just return the result. What I have done is, okay, this is not this bracket, actually we do it with square brackets actually in Ruby. So now let's submit this. Okay, so this is also accepted, and this was the whole explanation, and I hope that this video was helpful for you all. And if you really find this video helpful, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. I know that this video was not exactly the medium level questions, but sometimes in LeetCode I have observed that the difficulty tag has nothing to do with the difficulty level of the question. So this was one of those questions, but yes, we don't have to get bothered with the difficulty tag because our focus is on practicing and becoming as better as we can. So I hope this whole explanation was helpful for you all, and if you really find it helpful, then you can like this video, subscribe my channel, and I will soon come up with more such questions. Till then, take care and thanks for watching.